So boom, that was it, I left it. So I tried to phone, nothing. So then so went home Sunday night, Monday morning, still nothing. So I'm starting to panic a bit. What the fuck, what's going on here? All day Monday, nothing. So I'm like, this is really serious now. So I started emailing our work, our parents, not a reply. So what is going on here? Tuesday, nothing. What is going on? I don't know what to do. Tuesday, 2 o'clock, she phones me. We need to talk. I said, well, aye. I'll meet you at this diner, the T-Bone Diner, Queens Boulevard, and, we'll go and talk. I said, cool. So there was just a flavour about what she was saying, Richard. I thought, something alright here, like. So I phoned Gary. I said, I've got to meet her at 4 o'clock at the diner. If I didn't give you 3 rings on your phone, there's a problem. I was standing at the top of the subway, waiting on her coming up the subway, and this girl comes up, white pantsuit. I always remember, gorgeous, tan skin on the white pantsuit, and I remember, oh God, she's gorgeous. And just as I looked at her, I heard somebody saying my name. I turned round, there was a guy with a gun in my head.
How close are we to him?
Oh, I mean, I could see the sweat pouring down his forehead, that's how close. He's wearing, sort of the shirt and the tie and whatever. And then as I turned round like that, looked, and there's 2 other guys with guns. So it's the usual, put your hands behind your head, get on your knees, squat your fingers, or that sort of thing, right? And then they handcuff me. Then this other woman appears, a female detective, as we find out. And they frog marched me to a car. Never said a word to me after that. Never said, never read me my rights or any of that kind of thing you see on the telly or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? So we get to the car, we get in, and then we drive off. And we drive along Queens Boulevard, and they were like, are you hungry? And to each other, not to me. I'm not in the car as far as they're concerned. My handcuffs are behind my back. And they were like, yeah, and they stop at a place called White Castle. White Castle's a place, it's like sells burgers but small, like sliders, that kind of thing. They name. And off they go. Me in the car. So I'm thinking, my thoughts at that point is, are they actually police? Like, do I actually know that they're police? Is this a fucking hit? Am I going to... 2 guys get to walk out with shotguns, boom, you're dead in the middle of the... That's you finished, you know what I mean? Then they come back, still no ignores me, and the guy sees over it, and I'm thinking, nah, there must be cops. And the guy sees over the radio, coming in with a body for Queens. So what do you mean, body?
That's not going to help your paranoia.
So we get there, and go to the 33rd precinct in Manhattan, and I get arrested and booked and fingerprinted and photographed and all that kind of thing. Still, nobody has said why I'm here, why I've been arrested. I get put in an interview room, chained to a radio, handcuffed to a radio, and by this time I'm raging, because at that point now I'm just like, what the fuck?
So we've came out of the shock and we're into rage.
This is fucking like... So the female detective comes in, she says, do you know why you're here? I said, aye, you brought me here. She says, aye, keep laughing, funny man, because when you're in Rikers Island for the next 20 fucking years, we'll see how fucking funny you are then. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, And at that point, the whole way through it, I'm thinking, somebody's got to jump out and go, got you. And then, when she said that, I thought, this is real. So she reads out the list of the charges, right? And it was racketeering, illegal gambling, menacing, harassment, 2nd degree assault. I'm like, what? She's like, first thing we've got to do is, you make a statement. I said, I'm not talking to anybody without a lawyer, because this is bullshit. And then she's like, well, fuck you then, we're going to take you down to the Tombs. I said, what? The what did you say? The Tombs? Which happens to be the Manhattan Detention Centre. But of course, that's what they call the Tombs. Even the Polish call it the Tombs. And I get taken down there. So I'm in there for 30 hours in a holding cell, the only white guy in the whole holding cell. Everybody else is black or Chinese or whatever. I never got any hassle. People were absolutely... We're all in the same boat. We've all been lifted, that kind of way. And bit by bit, we ended up going to court. And I get taken up to a cell just outside the court, thinking I'll be in and out here, kind of thing. And 5 hours I'm in that cell, and eventually 2 o'clock, the public defender comes to see me. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen My Cousin Vinny, but the lawyer in there, the stuttering lawyer, was better than this guy.
He was better.
The first thing he said to me was, "Whoa, these are serious charges." Like, so anyway, edited highlights. Eventually get called, and he said to me, "How much money have you got?" I said, "Well, I've got $1,000 in my pocket," which I did. He says, "Right, we'll try for $500 bail, and then we'll get you here." I said, "Oh, magic." He says, "Just pay it in cash and we'll go." So I'm thinking, great. So everybody in front of me is getting 500, 500, 1,000, 500. The fucking DA comes up and says, "I would recommend $100,000 bail." What? And I can't say anything. I'm not allowed to say a word,
Right.
So I did that. So then back I go, and off I go to Rikers Island for what turned out to be 31 days. I eventually get out on the Vienna Statute, which is a law that was done after the war, which basically says if you're a foreign national, you have to inform the embassy.
Right.
They arrested you, and they never done that. So anyway, so what the point is that somebody somewhere had got arrested and sat down in a police cell and just named everybody they could, including me. 120 people got arrested that day.
Right.
I never knew that, obviously.
Sure.
They got to my girlfriend 2 days before it and said, "You need to set him up," which is what she came today and antagonised me and then took me to the diner. Unbelievably, and I'm not going to slag the competence of the FBI, but in the 2 days between her trying to antagonise me and them arresting me, the only place that ever looked for me was in my house. So I was like, "Okay, guys, that's fine." So that was it. So anyway, what transpired with that was I ended up losing my house, my job, all my money, credit cards, the whole lot. I had the clothes I was standing in, that was it. Eventually get out, blah blah blah. Under house arrest in my mate's house in New Jersey, electronic tag, all that kind of thing. And it was just a full-on 2 months intimidation and harassment by the FBI. Every day they would come out of the house, drive past the house, "We're going to get you, you're going down, blah, 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 they're going to do this, they're going to do that, blah, blah." And then it was like Gary, because at that point I was well aware of Gary's, how can I put it, friends. And Gary's friends were able to get me a really good lawyer who knew what he was doing.
Right.
And I went, and so at this point, Richard, I was banned from the area of Queens.
From the area of Queens?
Which would mean, Richard, if I say to you, "You're now banned from Scotland."
Aye.
Because there's like 3 million people in Queen. And I'm like, cool. And I lived on Queens Boulevard at the time. Of course, that's gone. And by the way, the fucking cunts were trying to sue me for the rent for the house that I couldn't get to. So there's all this multitude of stuff going on. So I spoke to the guy, Al Murray, Jewish lawyer. Always got a Jewish lawyer, that's what I was told. Come into the office, I said, "Alright, wait, so I'm in Queens." I said, "Well, I'm banned." He said, "Yeah, but you're allowed." Lawyer.
For this, right.
I said, "Where about in Queens? Queens Boulevard."
Oh, here we go.
I mean, could you not be anywhere else? But from that minute, I'd went through this "I'm going to jail for a long time" period thing, up to meeting him, and he was just the best. He was just like, first of all, it's going to cost $30,000.
Right.
I didn't really have $30,000.
You kind of took all that stuff.
$30,000. He went, "Yeah, I know that, I'm doing it for free." And I went, "Right." And I thought, why? And he went, "Any friend of Gary's?" I went, "Alright." So he was just like, let me try and explain the fucking US justice system.
Take a seat.
And he went, blah, blah, blah. He said, "Now you might think that because you didn't have to go to court for 2 months, that's a bad thing. It's not a good thing, because in that time I'm going to destroy this case, and by the time we go into court, you're going to be found innocent and walk out of there." And I'm like, "Yeah, right." But it's exactly what happened.
That right, just panned out.
Exactly what happened. So it panned out and that kind of thing. And then, but there was even after it was like the police had taken my passport. When I went to get it back, "Oh, we never took your passport." "Oh, for fuck's sake," and it was just like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then I eventually got home. But that, I've been over it so many times, and I ended up having post-traumatic stress disorder, which I still suffer with to this day, because of that, because of living in fear for so long and all that kind of thing.
See, when they say that, you started the story, or the really horrendous part of that story, where guys pointing guns at you.
Yeah.
Then you're through a scenario of jail, then there's a kind of prison thing for 31 days, and then there's is it all of it combined? Is it a shocking part? No, it's actually, see the gun thing, that always wakes me up at night, or see the daily chap at the door. Do you know what I mean? Is it one particular thing that's the biggest part?
What is having a life and then suddenly it was taken away?
Is it, so that full lottery living lifestyle we spoke about?
Like, it wasn't even the fact because it was such a great lifestyle, it was mainly the fact that somewhere before that moment came when I was in that diner or outside that diner, there were people conspiring against me
Right.
to take all that away. So from when I came back, it was like, trust nobody, didn't piss anybody off.
Right.
Because if you do, they'll just take your next life away from you.
Right.
And so I lived like that for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't look at New York on the telly, I couldn't look at it on film, I couldn't do anything like that. I started to, after a year, I started to write, which was a cathartic process.
Right, okay.
And
So never during the fantastic lifestyle, just not even got a thought or a time for it?
No, because I believe that to write good you need to have hunger. I really do believe that. And that's when I've written some of my best stuff. People used to, because if you remember, Richard, you know, this is probably the longest period in the last 5 years where I've not wrote out a book. Because the last book came out last October. And people would say, oh, here's another book. And I'd say, there's one reason for that. Eating and being warm. That's why I wrote books. To make money, to actually feed myself and whatever. Because, you know, when I came back into the day, I had nothing. Zero. No house, no job, no money, no nothing. I ended up going back to New York in 2010 because I realised I had to exercise my demons.
Right, okay, so that was a deliberate one.
I had to do that because I couldn't live like that any longer.
And did you know that, or is this through therapy?
No, I knew that. November 15, 2008, I was sitting in my house in Leith. I got a house in Leith at the time, Buchanan Street, and I watched The Sopranos, and the guy said, you want to kill yourself, pills are a better option. And he said that, and I paused the thing, and I went up to Tesco and got 30 paracetamol, 2 bowls of water. That's it, done. I'm going to finish it. I put the thing on the counter, in the kitchen, you know, just like a wee slab thing in the kitchen we had.
Mm-hmm.
And above that was a picture of my son, and I sat and looked at it for about 2 hours and went, if I do this, he's going to have to suffer this for the rest of his life. And that's why I never done it. Subsequently, as I realised that, because I knew a friend of mine was a paramedic, I would never have died that day. I probably have died about 3 weeks later because of the paracetamol that meant, you know. So, but that's the stage I was at.
Right.
Because I was sick of living in fear.
Uh-huh.
And I realised after about a year, Richard, that the only way I could do it was to go back to New York and face my demons and face all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Which, to be honest, I kind of did for a wee bit, but then it was, you know, I still had to fucking, you know, keep my head above water, and I had a young son then, and I had a girlfriend, which became my wife, and I had to get a house and work, but it was just stress non-stop. But when I came back the second time, I left of my own accord. Last time I had to basically get out the country.
Aye.
Literally an hour, like, you need to go. And it was literally like, go to this guy's house, book your flight, he'll print it off for you, and off you go to JFK, because it was all on top. It was all on top, and it was never going to end. It was the golden handcuffs.
Right. They
were after me. I was public enemy #1, and that was it. So I got through all that, and then I went back, and even though I had a pretty shitty time the second time we went there because it was too stressful, I left them in a accord, and bit by bit that started to build up and sort of dissipate the post-traumatic stress disorder for a wee bit.
Right. And the writing, then the cathartic release from that's just a byproduct.
Well,
I
tried to write the stories as a cathartic process, and then when I went back to New York and I eventually got a house with my girlfriend and young son Jake,
mm-hmm.
Gary again, so I was standing in a bar, the Housey Brews on 8th Avenue, and he said to me, you know, you've got your house, this, that, next thing I'm watching an NFL game. He said, why don't you start writing again? I said, what? And he said, what you should write about is Love Street 86. You're always talking about it as the greatest day of your life and all that. You should write that. You know Albert Kidd. And as soon as he said that, I went, well, maybe I will. And that's how I started From Albert with Love. What changed my life, what still changed my life to this day, was going on The Lost Boys and getting interviewed by Chris McGugan, which was the day we beat Inverness Cali 2-1 at Cali. I was in Bronx at the time, and Joe Ledley scored the 2 goals. Mm-hmm. And Chris interviewed me that night, and I had like 30 Twitter followers at that point, 15 of which were hookers. And not even real hookers, just pretend ones, you know what I mean? Suddenly the next day is 150, and because it was at St Patrick's time there, and I just never looked back from there.
Aye.
The stuff, the interview that I'd done resonate with a lot of people.